everybody, it's Ken Komet, condovoice.com. Thanks for joining me today. Today we're talking about mailboxes in multi-family housing projects, condominiums, HOAs, apartment complexes. So what you see behind me is a multi-family mailbox. You've seen these, I'm sure, if you've ever been in a community like that. One of the most frustrating things is when a unit sells and you've got the buyer and the seller. And the seller is responsible to give the buyer the keys to the unit and to the mailbox. Well, most of the time, the mailbox keys never make it to the new owner. So the new owner is faced with a dilemma. How do you get your mail? So I wanted to show you here how we actually replace the lock. But before I do that, I want to explain to you how you have to do this. It's not an easy task, and as a property manager, it's very frustrating. Let me explain. So even though the mailboxes are a common element, the keys are not. So the association doesn't hold keys, extra keys for these locks, because this is private mail. So there's a dividing line. That's why the association is not responsible to replace the lock for the new owner. And a lot of times people move into a community, they think that, but it's not true. So you have to explain to them, no, make sure when you close the unit, make sure at that closing, you get the mailbox keys. And here's why. Even if you want to change the lock, here's what happens. If you don't have the key to this, I'm going to close this one. And let's just say you walk up to this mailbox and you don't have a key to open that up. You need a key to be able to replace the lock. The only other way to replace this lock is to open up the entire bank of mailboxes. And the only way that can happen is with the post person comes to deliver the mail. So this is real important. This is the only way to do this. You have to figure out when the mail gets delivered. You have to have your lock ready and your pair of pliers ready. Okay. Please don't try to remove the mailbox lock by forcible means, such as a hammer or a drill or some other force used to do it. You could damage the door, the hinges, and the box itself. The association owns the box, and you will be held liable for any damages caused by that. So I would suggest you do not try to use alternative methods to remove the lock. Okay, to remove the old lock. Now all you got to do when the mailman is there or the mail person's there is just remove the old lock, because once the lock is out, then you could take your time and replace the lock. But while this old lock is in, you can't open that door to get the new lock in. So time it right, get with your mail person. They're usually pretty nice about it because they know they do this all the time. All you have to do is when they open up the whole bank, I can't do that here because the mail person's not there, but I'm going to open this up. So you're going to be able to access the back of this lock now. All right. So step one is basically there's a clip right here. Okay. I don't know if you can see it. I hope you can. You're going to pop that out. Okay. That's what the clip looks like. All right. You pop it out with your pliers. You set that here. Then there's a nut right on the back of this thing that holds the cam in. You're going to take your pliers and just start that. Well, the lock fell out. That can happen. But normally you have to unscrew this little nut on the back, all right? So either the lock falls out the front because the hole is small enough, and it just so happens that this particular cam was small enough to fold through that hole, but usually that doesn't happen. So anyway, what you want to do is you remove the nut on the back, and you remove the cam, and you set this old lock aside. Then you take the new lock, so let's just pretend I've got the new lock, all right? And I'm gonna assemble it, okay? Well, first of all, normally that cam doesn't slide through that hole. So you've got just the lock with the key in it, and you're going to slide it through the hole. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to put this clip back in. See? Right? It's got a little channel, a little receiver on the back side of it. This one's a little wiggly, but we're going to have to live with that. Then we're going to put our cam on, right? The right cam. Now listen, when you buy a package of mailbox lock, sorry about that, you're going to have different cams because they know all mailboxes are not alike, so they try to give you a universal. You can buy these mailbox locks, Ace Hardware, any of the hardware stores. So you find the right cam, you trial and error to see which one fits the right, which I did on this one. I found this one. I'm going to go ahead and put that in, okay, and then I'm going to put my washer on, and I'm going to put my nut on. And it's not hard. Just get started. Boom. And I'm going to hand tighten it. And then I'm just going to try it on for size. So it's got a little wiggle in it. You like it nice and tight, but you know what? That's probably going to be okay. I'm going to look for a different set of cams for these locks. And here's what happens. This is the original lock. You can see that lock is a little thicker. So what happens is when you buy the new lock, if you look at the back of this, it just gets a little wiggly because there's a space between where that horseshoe clip fits and the door. That should be tighter than that. But actually, there's not a whole lot I can do with that right now. I can work on the cam to make it tighter so the door doesn't wiggle. The other thing you can do is you can try and find a washer to fit behind that. But for right now, we're going to live with that. And then all you do is you take your pliers and you just tighten down on this nut. Just once or twice and you're good, and we're done. That's how you change out a mailbox lock. And I wanted to make this video because as a manager, it's really frustrating because I have to explain this whole process to the new buyer, the new owner. And they don't understand why, but so maybe now they understand why. The association does not hold these keys because that's private mail. Okay, the association takes care of the whole box, like paint it, whatever. And also one more thing, you know, this is like door number 3 to this box. It's really up to the post person to tell you what box you have. So in some communities you have more boxes than you have units, so you have some spares. And so it's up to the mail person to designate which mailbox is going to be yours. Don't assume that the previous owner's mailbox is going to be the one that the mail person is going to designate for you. They may want to change it. In fact, they have this last say on this. So it's another reason, don't try to do this yourself. Wait for the mail person to acknowledge that, yes, they're going to reuse that same box for that same unit. Okay, because if you assume otherwise, you won't get your mail and you'll wonder why. And that mail person's not obligated to contact you or anything. They'll just hold your mail. So just because you change out the mailbox lock doesn't mean you're automatically going to start getting your mail there either. That interaction between the mail person has to happen so they understand who you are and that you want your mail in that box that you agree is going to be your box. So that's why you want to interact with that mail person as a new owner on the day when they deliver. Don't hold them up. Just be nice to them and they'll cooperate. They'll say, okay, this is going to be your box, and I'll open that up so you can take the old lock out, and then you can actually take a piece of tape and close it if you don't have that lock at the same time. And don't hold up the mail person by trying to put the lock in while they're there doing their mail. Wait for them to leave and then go ahead and just, you know, you're going to have a door without a lock in it and you're just going to be flapping open like this. Make sure that you put your lock on so that the door doesn't flap open in the wind and all that. And there you go. So mailbox locks in multifamily, condo HOA. That's how you do it. That's why you do it. Thanks for watching. You all have a great day.